I'll start the entire video in a couple of minutes, just to give it time for everyone to connect, or whatever. Okay, so today I would like to continue a little bit what I was doing before about tower defense, and I'm going to continue with two games at the same time, so two different games in different streams, different Twitch. So one is going to be this tower defense that I'm starting. It has no name so far. And the other one is Bouncy Alien that we have seen in a few of the videos before. So let's start with the tower defense. I'm going to start a project from zero, and a few of the things that I'm going to cover here are the same ones that you can check on the templates that come here and the examples that come here with Construct 2 that we saw in the previous video. But I just wanted to do those things manually and to show you, well, how easy it is. So the first thing that I need is a tower or a turret. So just let's try to make something, I don't know, something like this, just for the fun of it. And this is going to be our tower, and I'm going to make it a little bit more ominous. So something red, something like that, and then I don't know, since we can make things a little bit more complicated, let's make it something like this, and that's it. Okay, of course you can do something much better than this. You can tell that I'm just making it really fast, and perhaps that's not the best way to go, but it's a good thing for our example. So this is going to be our tower, and of course if I spell it correctly would be better. Then this one is going to have the turret the turret behavior that we have here. Okay. In another video I'm going to check all the things that we have in the properties for this behavior, but right now we're just going to leave it at that. Now the other thing that I'm going to do is to add our target. This one is going to be even much simpler. It's just going to be let's say a blue square. I'm going also to make it smaller, something like this. Now if I run it just now, it's not going to do a thing. Why? Simply because we haven't said that this one is a target for my tower, for my turret. So first thing, I'm going to rename it to target, and the second thing, I'm going to go to the events to be able to change that, and I'm going to say at the start of the layout, let's say that this target, well, is targeted by the tower. So I'm going to pick tower, and down here you should see all the actions that we could have with turrets, with the turret behavior. And in this case, I'm going to acquire a target. You can also tell that there is unacquire a target. So at some point, for example, I could make a game where I want to have some sentinels that are going to try to shoot at me. And if I'm able to reach a certain, let's say, switch, or I can get a hold of a key, then I'm not going to be a target anymore. So I do the opposite, that is unacquire a target. But this one, I'm just going to say the target is the target. So it makes sense. So let's run the layout. And of course, because I put in that location, it doesn't work so well. Let's do it like this. And you saw that now my tower is beginning to turn, but it's not shooting at me. And that's because I'm still not saying what to do whenever you have well, acquired the target, whenever you have to shoot. So let's add another event. Also, this one affects the tower. And we'll look some of this, and the one that we want is on shoot. So when is on shoot going to be effective? When is this event going to be triggered? First, when the target has to be inside the range of the turret, and second is going to be triggered every X seconds that you are going to determine here on this rate of fire. So at this point, what we need to do is to shoot. But to do that, we need a bullet. We don't have a bullet, so let's draw one. And I'm going to put it here. I don't know which color. Let's say green, so it's quite visible. Okay. I'm going to make it much smaller. I'm going to put it over here. The other thing that we need is that this bullet needs a bullet behavior, so we're going to add it. You can of course change the speed of that there, so you're not going to well, have faster or slower bullets. And the last thing then in this event is to spawn a bullet every time that I shoot. So I'm going to say the tower, well, I'm going to also call this one bullet. And then the tower is going to spawn another object that is a bullet. Now, let's do that. You see now that is doing that. Now, one thing that I would like to address right away is that you see that the bullets are beginning, are spawned right here in the center of my tower. But I drew a badly well drawn, what is it? Cannon that is supposedly is the one that is shooting. So usually you should expect it over here to be in this area. So I'm going to modify that, and it's really simple. You have something here called well, an image point, an image that you have the list here. You can create several of them. By default, the image points are located in the middle of the image. And to have rotation, that's good because it's going to use that one. So I'm going to add another one that is called image point 1, and I'm going to put it here at the tip of my, well, cannon basically. And since I'm here, I'm just going to say I'm going to make it look a little bit better, not much, but a little bit, something like that. Well, okay, since we're here, let's try to make it something like this. It's not great, but hey, this is just an example. Something like that. Okay, again, like I said, it's not great, but hey. And now let's try it again. Okay, so I added the image point, but I didn't say anything else. So you see that whenever I'm doing a spawn, it's asking me image point. So far we were not doing anything with that, so by default it puts 0, that's the first image point. Now we added another one, so this is going to be image point 1. And now you see that it's starting almost at the tip of the cannon, so it makes more sense. So just to make it closer to the example that comes with construct 2, I am going to pick the target, and I am going to give an egg direction behavior. So that means that if I run this, I'm going to be able to move my target and you can tell that my tower is trying to, well, to shoot me, to follow me around and to shoot me. So that's good. The other thing that I can do, and this is just to make it a little more interesting, is that I can make this little target to flash. So I'm going to add the flash behavior. I've tried it before, and I could say something like, whenever there's a collision between the bullet and my target, I am going to make the target flash. And where is it? Flash. I know that this is too much, so I'm just going to make it 0.2 seconds. So it's going to do it basically once. So whenever I'm hit, I flash once, and that's it. You can also tell that my tower has a slow rate to turn, so that's one of the properties that you can modify. So I just can go here and rotate speed. You see that is 180. I can make it much faster, so something like, I don't know, 360, so it could do a full turn right away. So now it's going to be really hard to avoid it. Still, oh, I don't know why it's doing this, that it's getting stuck. I've seen it lately. I don't like it so much, but well, that's fine. That's not really something that we're going to fix right now. So this is the first part for our tower defense. The other part has to do with enemies following a path. So I am going to make it as something here on the side. I'm not going to integrate this here, just to do not mess with this example. And I'm going to make a sprite that is going to be a triangle. And I should have made it, well, let's try to do it a little bit more in the middle. Closer at least. And I'm going to make it, well, since it's an enemy, I'm going to make it also red. That's it. And much smaller than this. And of course, it's not looking at the same direction. You see that it's pointing upwards, so just to make it look better, I'm going to turn it. Now they are in the same direction. And now this one, I'm going to give a behavior that is Pathfind, that is almost at the end. And you don't really need to create a goal, a point where it goes to, but since it's much easier to do it and it's going to be quite visible, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to make a little square here that is going to be greenish, and I'm going to rename it, of course, as goal. And this one I'm going to rename as seeker. And you will need two basic events for the seeker. The first one is, well, I'm going to use an event that already exists here. And it's an action that is going to say, hey, this seeker should try to look for a path to my goal. So I'm going to say seeker, and here you have all the pathfinding actions. And in this case, I'm going to say find a path. Since I already have a goal, I could say something like goal.x and goal.y. Okay? Now, if I run it like now, or like that, it's not going to do a thing, because internally it was able to find a path that quite likely is going to be a straight line. But I'm not saying move. I'm not saying anything like, hey, move along the path. I just found it. I just calculated that. So I'm going to add an event. I'm going to say the seeker. And it's going to give me these options for the events. That is, on path found, do something. So you also can see that you can do something else on fail find path. So I'm going to try to show both examples. So on path found, I need the seeker to move. So there's an action that is called move along path. So that's the one that I need. So let's try it. And you see that it was a straight line because we don't have any kind of obstacles. Other thing that I would like to, well, I'll do that at the end so we don't get sidetracked. So right now you see here that the seeker has the pathfinding, and I'm just going to point to one part of this behavior, one property, that it says obstacles are solids. So that's the one that is by default. So you have to create solids, you have to create objects that have the solid behavior, so they are going to be taken into account when it's trying to find a path. So I'm going to create some solids. Well, I'm just going to create one that is going to be black to avoid some of the quite colorful tones that we have, and I'm just going to put it here, and I have to give the solid behavior. So that's the important part, and I'm going to call it wall just to know what I'm talking about. Now since I'm making it like this, it cannot go in a straight line, right? So now it's trying to go around the wall, which is good. And now if I move the wall and let's say that I'm going to make a couple of copies of this one. This one is 90, so something like this. And then I'm going to make a copy of this, and this one instead I'm going to make it quite large, and this one I'm going to make another copy. Copy like this. So I'm making certain that the best path should be to go over here and then turn here. And there you go. That's exactly what it's doing. Now you see that when it's trying to take the turns, sometimes it kind of like cuts a little bit into this object, and part of that is because the pathfinding behavior, you have a cell border and a cell size, so it's going to internally create a grid here to be able to find all the positions that it has to go. So if you make this one like too close, it's just going to sit still because it's not able to find a path. So that's when you have the option to create something like a condition. Well, first I'm going to create a text. I'm going to put here, and it's like no path found, and originally I'm going to make it invisible. So if the path is found, well, so I'm not doing anything, it's just going to move along. But now I'm going to say that if the seeker failed to find a path, I'm going to make that text visible. And well, since I want it quite dramatic, I'm going to make it red or whatever, something like that, and with a lot of exclamation points, something like that. Now well, this time it works, and now I just move it much slower, and it's able and detects that it cannot go through here. It's too narrow for the size of this element. So how do you do that? Well, of course you can move this, or you can just literally make this one much smaller. Well, something like, I don't know, more visible, 7, something like this. And now I think it should be able to go. No? Oh, okay, no, because that really is determined by the size of the cell. So still it's going to say like, hey, that's still not enough. It's basically saying that the size of this one is not going to be able to get it there. So you have to experiment a little bit with that. The other thing that you have here is like, I'm going to clone this one, clone object type, and in this one I'm going to say other message, is that you should have another condition, seeker, that is unarrived. And unarrived is that it was able to reach the destination that in this case is called goal. So since I already have a second message that I'm going to change, is like I'm going to put it like got it, something like that, and this time it's in green because it was really cool, and it's invisible at the beginning. So in this case I'm going to say that the other message is visible. So let's see. So it's going to be able to turn, goes there, and got it. So of course this is not the most complex thing, but I could perfectly eliminate these two. Those two are not needed. So almost with 4 events, I have the basics for a tower defense. Of course, I'm talking about like the real basics. That is just the make a tower work and make a pathfinding enemy work too. So, but well, you already saw it, and it's not the most complicated thing in the world. So far, I'm going to leave it like that. Quite likely, we're going to retake some of the elements that we checked today, and I'm going to go through a little bit more of details about that. And the next time, we're going to try to actually create or recreate the the tower defense that comes with Construct 2. So, like you see, it's really simple, but it's quite useful. In the meantime, you can you can contact me. You can check my blog, tweet me. You can also check my games, email me, and I'm basically putting all these videos, all these streams. I'm saving a copy in my hard drive and then putting them in YouTube. So if you check my here on Twitch, you can see on the right side that I have my YouTube channel. All of them are going to be there, even some that I failed to record or that I failed to stream correctly, which it was really stupid for me. They are going to be saved there in YouTube, and you're going to be able to go back to them at any point and just check them and give me some comments about them. And that's kinda it for today. Thank you.